in Jerusalem. Irris, you heard from Netanyahu saying essentially that he dealt Hamas a heavy blow. Is this anything new?
Not if you've heard Netanyahu's speeches after the previous rounds of hostilities. Let's go back to 2009, 2012, 2014. It was a similar kind of victory spin, victory speech after each of those, with the hope that what would now be traded was, and I quote, quiet for quiet, and that Hamas's military had received such a strong blow that it wouldn't recover or would take years to recover. So it feels very familiar to people in Israel listening to it. And I think perhaps that's why we're seeing a different reaction inside Israel than we saw in the Palestinian territories last night at 2 a.m. as soon as the ceasefire came into effect. There's no big victory marches here because people are concerned. All the people I've spoken to, all the people I've heard speaking, Israelis, say they're fearful, they're wary. They're very happy that the bombing and the rockets have stopped, but they're wary of what comes next, and they're fearful that it will be a return to what the people in the south of Israel call low-level rocket attacks, the kind that you and I don't talk about, we don't report them, but the people there do live with them.
I want to talk about the political side to all this now, because tomorrow was supposed to be the Palestinian election. For the first election, essentially, the territories would have held in 14 years. It was delayed. Who has come out of this conflict politically on top, if you will?
I would say the clear answer to that is Hamas. If you saw the victory parades, the crowds last night in Gaza, last night across the West Bank, and last night and this morning in Jerusalem, you would see the green flag of Hamas everywhere. And they're not just celebrating the end of a ceasefire. They say they are celebrating the victory for Hamas. I've heard people saying, we restored dignity to Muslims. This is a victory. The resistance had won this victory for Muslims across the world. So Hamas has come out of this strengthened. Perhaps that was the reason it went into it strategically. I mean, you wouldn't say that if you look at the Gaza Strip this morning, but they're looking at their position. They're not looking at Gaza. And the person who's come out weakest is the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas. Instead of holding elections tomorrow, he sees that this morning at Al-Aqsa, after prayers, the chanting was, the people want to replace their leader. That was a clear reference to him. He's been in power for a very long time. There are no elections, and this is what we got instead.
Fascinating. Thank you very much for that, Irris. Irris Makler reporting there from Jerusalem.